Alright folks, well, I had a request from one of my subscribers to go back and look at some of the Case 1970s knives, and I thought I would do that. And I thought I would give some credit where credit's due. And one of my favorite books is Parker's Pocket Knife Trader's Price Guide. And why? Because, and I've used plenty of books, and there's a lot of debate about it, and people disagree, and people hate this guy, or they dislike him, or they love him, or whatever. There's a lot of politics that go along with James Buzz Parker. But his prices really hit the mark every time. And if you want to look at real knife values, the best way to see real world values is to go on eBay. I don't recommend buying on eBay, and I could go through a lot of my knives and show you the knives that I purchased on eBay and why it's not good to purchase things on eBay. Because when you purchase on eBay, you end up getting burned almost every time. Either the blades are loose or wobbly or whatever. And I'm sure somebody that's listening has a eBay store and they'll say, no, my store's not like that. Well, I've sold on eBay and I didn't sell junk either. But if you have a relationship with the guy, maybe shoot him an email and communicate with him and ask him, hey, are you a collector? Is this collector quality? And maybe that's different. So, so I don't mean to slam all you eBay stores out there, but, take that for what it is. I just don't trust eBay. I don't sell on eBay anymore either. So just take that for what it is. Sorry if you sell on eBay. Anyway, great book. I'm going to read a little bit from it. Case XX, 1940s to 1964. So these are the Case XX knives. A good example of that would be, I believe, this one. Let me see here. And before I touch my knives, I'm going to show you really quick what I like to do. This is just basic mineral oil. You can get this at any drugstore. It is actually, you get this in the laxative section. You can put this on your knives. It's better than anything. You can eat it. It's non-toxic. It's great for stag. It's great for bone. It's great for everything. Whoa, I put too much on there. It's great for metal. It's great for everything. It's fantastic. I just rub a little on my hands. Not too much. Whoops. And that way you don't have to wear gloves, and it just kind of lubricates your hands, and it gets most of your oils off, and you're not going to be getting fingerprints all over your knives. Okay. And it's alright if you get fingerprints on your books or oil on your knife books, because that's what books are for, Come on. Alright, so well, this is a Case tested. This is a really old one. Woo! It's a really nice old knife. This is a beauty. What a gorgeous knife. And I've showed this one off before. And they really made, these were all handmade. These are custom quality knives. Just beautiful. How much is a knife like this worth? About 200 bucks. Absolutely beautiful. And hey, you got my camera up on top of my head. Hey guys. Beautiful knife. Really gorgeous. Alright, well let's go back to reading here. Alright, so for beautiful knives and all-around quality, Case XX is the best. So this is 1940 to 1964. You got to understand that Case has been owned by many, many different brothers, sisters, and all that stuff. Not sisters, but anyway, it's been owned by different sectors of the family. So Case it's not really a family that has been in one operation and then they've gone in different directions constantly. So you got to remember that. So it's changed year to year. So you can't say, oh, Case is the best knife, in the world. You got to remember that in the 1980s it changed, in the 1990s it's changed, in the 1970s it's changed. It's a company that's constantly changing. So you got to remember that the knife that you buy in the 1940s is different from the knife that you buy in the 1970s. So remember that. All right. In this book, it'll show you how to look up your values and all that good stuff. Well, let's read what they say. Okay, case XX USA. Now, what they're talking about is what's the tang stamp? Okay, the tang stamp is right here on the edge of your knife. Like this says case tested. And for instance, this one says case XX stainless USA, and it's got some dots down there. Now this is a 1970s case knife. Beautiful knife, gorgeous trapper. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that bone on that, just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. They don't make knives like that no more. The Case XX USA knives are some of the hottest knives on the market. The bone on the USA period knives is some of the prettiest bone ever produced by Case XX. These antique knives are still readily available on the market. Okay, so these are pretty old knives, and they go up to 1969. Okay, and the values of these, you know, you can get them for like $50, $100, 85, 75 bucks. I mean, these prices are pretty cheap. I mean, that's how much some of the used knives, new knives are for. All right, Case 10-dot knives. Beginning in the 1970s, a row of 10 dots were placed underneath the Case XX USA. Each year, a dot was removed. In the next few pages, I am going to list each year of the dots: 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 individually. Okay, there may be a mistake or two because the factory would normally stamp out a minimum of 3,000 blades, usually more. So every once in a while you'd say, man, this one was made in 1977. Okay, it might have been made in 1976. It might have been made in 1975. Okay, so it might have had a little bit of an overlap. Okay, the 1970s dotted knives are becoming fewer and fewer in numbers. Collectors have been snatching them up for several years, making them more and more hard to find. Case 1970s models knives may not be the prettiest bone handles, all right, but starting around 1973, but are still very collectible. So around 1973, they started getting a little bit fugly, and I will give you ugly, fugly. I'll give you an example of that. Look how beautiful the bone handle on this 1972 is. It's pretty nice. Really nice, deep red bone. Okay? Really nice. Okay? I got to come in here and check some of my knives, make sure they're not getting messed up in this thing. Now, this one right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1973, is it? Gets a little complicated. That's a 1971. But I'm going to go with this one. I mean, you can start to tell that the bone handles on the 1970s knives, they started not matching them as well as they could have. Like, for instance, one side would not match the other. On the older Case XX knives and stuff like that, that would be a no-no. You wouldn't really see that on the older knives. Okay. This is, like I said, this is the declining quality. Now, for someone that's used to seeing a knife like this, they'd say, "Well, what are you talking about? This is gorgeous. It's stop knocking my American company. You know, America rules. You know, leave me alone. There's nothing wrong with pointing out a fact that a company slowly and surely tries to save money here and there. And I don't think it saves money. It's called, hey guys, you know, let's just pay attention to what we're doing here. Now this is nice how they match the scales on this one. Let me go through here and wipe some of these down. See, and when you store these knives, that's some of the problems with these things, is that they can really, these storage containers can really mark them up sometimes. Here is a beautiful one. Here is a Case XX USA. Absolutely beautiful. And look how gorgeous that is. Just a real peach. Just a beautiful knife. Gorgeous is that? That's so nice. Now this isn't a case. This is a Russell. They're famous for importing knives. What's cool is when I received this knife, it was bright white, and it's starting to turn a little bit of a patina, and it's starting to show the grain of the material. This is elephant ivory. Pre-ban, of course. Very expensive. Here's another Case knife. Here's a Case XX. Now remember what I told you, how beautiful these are. Oh my gosh, this is just a gorgeous knife. Let me see if I can. And you can see the, if you guys, hopefully this camera's picking all this stuff up. Here's a Case XX. Just beautiful. And it's got those nice back springs. Everything matches. See, this is where it's handmade. It would come to the cutlery, the tech station, and he would pick out which scales would go on it. He would say, "Ah, they match," and he'd put it on there, and he would hand make the knife from start to finish. Nowadays, the knife gets touched by so many different people. There's no ownership to the knife, so nobody really cares what the end product looks like. So when there's a mistake, you really can't pin it on any one person. It's just, oh, he did it. No, he did it. It's really nice. Another good place to pick up nice Case knives are the Case Show up in Pennsylvania. I've picked up a lot of nice knives from AAPK stores, meeting people online. A lot of other knives that are really nice is the older Bulldog knives. These are German. And these are beautiful knives too. These are really nice. These are the older Bulldog knives. Half stops, the whole bit. Gorgeous stag. Really nice. So, but I know you got your Case lovers out there, because the Case history is so fascinating. And just look at this. This is a beautiful knife. I actually got this as a trade, as a blind trade. We sent out knives to each other, and I was very fortunate to get this. This is just a beautiful knife. Look at that lockup, just beautiful. It's a Case XX USA, no dots. Just beautiful. Nice snap to it. Just beautiful. Really nice. You can pick up these knives for cheaper than the new ones. I mean, no reason to buy new when you can get this. All these shields are pinned on. They're not glued on. I understand that somebody wants to defend their purchase and say, it doesn't matter if it's glued on and all that stuff. Well, if you don't think it doesn't matter, fine. Just whatever. I mean, I'm glad you don't think it minds. Now, I picked this one up on eBay for a really good price. Every once in a while you can get something on eBay. I could tell the guy wasn't happy about the price I received it for. So every once in a while you can pick up something on eBay. And this one has a split spring. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you can see the spring. It's the last year that they made this model whittler. And she is a beauty. What a beauty of a knife. Scales are not that nice looking. So let's see what year this is. 19, I believe it's a 19. It's a it's a Case XX USA 4-dot. This is where it gets a little bit complicated. I mean, I can do math in my head, but okay, so a 4-dot. So you'd come to your book. It's a 1976. Author's notes. Prices listed are for the less desirable splotchy bone handles. Add 25% for knives with pretty red bone handles. So you got to understand that. See, this is what happened is in 1976. The decline of the quality, even though the knives were being still made very nice, the quality was slowly declining, where even in this book here they had to make little notes stating that occasionally you had knives that were just not up to the standards of the previous 1960s knives. And this is a pretty splotchy, ugly handle material. But other than that, it's manufactured really nicely. 6380 is your pattern number. So you would come to your book and you would look that up. 6380, 6380. I should do this faster. Sorry, guys. 6380 bone rare. Oh, bone rare. $175. Okay, so it's rare. $175. So that's why it's in my collection, because it's rare and not very many people have it. So I keep this one. It's something I will not sell. It's something that's most people don't have, and it's a good example of a case knife that was the last year that they made, and they stopped making it because it was a very difficult pattern for them to make and to fit with that unusual back spring. So the history is interesting on this knife. I find it interesting. Well, let's see what else we have here. All these gorgeous knives. Look at this fascinating one. I love this. Look at this. Watch this. I love this. Isn't that nice? Bet you that offended a few people. Nice lock blade. Nice big hefty blade. Nice thick back spring. Get that razor sharp. Oh yeah, it's a nice blade. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit for you guys so you can see. Real beautiful. But you can see the splotchiness of the handle material. See, in the 1960s, if the bone material was coming out like this, coffee. If the bone material was coming out like this, they would just throw it out. They wouldn't be putting it on their knives. They would stop the process and throw it out, and they would go back to the drawing board. But as the company's quality was declining, they would just use it. Which, to us nowadays, these 1970s knives are beautiful. Made better than they are today. But the knives of today are made very nice also. I'm not saying that case knives are crap. Not saying that at all. I love the company. Beautiful history. It's a nice knife, huh? It's a nice one. I like it. What else we got? See, that's not a case. Look at this. It's an old Western. There's a lot of brands out there that are really nice. Look at the back spring on that. That are made really nice. Got to clean that up, don't I? Get that off there. Old Western, made in USA. I would say this is one of my more beautiful knives. I love this thing. Look at that. Nice swedge on that. Beauty. Nice half stop. It's beauty. Beauty. Old poker. Old wood knives. U.S. signal quartz. Sometimes you forget what kind of knives you got. Oh, it's a locking blade. And you unlock it. Look how you unlock this knife. Look at this. How would you unlock this? Look at that. It's an old electrician's knife. You unlock it by pushing on this blade. So you push, and then you can unlock that side. Ingenious, isn't it? I like that. I should continue making that today. This one is a... Whoa, 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 whoa. See? Strong back spring on that one. Huh? This is a keen cutter. Look at those swedges they used to do. Isn't that beautiful? It's a nice long video, I know, but it's for knife lovers. When you got nothing better to do and you just want to zone out and look at somebody's collection, that's what this video is for. This is gorgeous. I like this one. This one is a Miller Brothers. Got this at a gun show of all places for 20 bucks. Again, you unlock it by pushing on the blade. What an ingenious thing. I guess they stopped doing that because they felt maybe you could actuate it, but I don't see how you could. Beautiful wood handles. Look at that gorgeous wood handles on that. Just beautiful. See, I have a love for many different brands of knives, not just Case. I know it gets complicated. It's difficult to learn all the different brands of knives, but if you expand your knowledge of knives, there's so many different brands out there that you're missing out on if you don't learn about these. A lot of the German, this is a German knife, beautiful companies out there. You know, just beautiful German knives. This one has been customized by a guy I met. It's a Hen and Rooster. A lot of the Fight and Rooster knives, they used celluloid, I think I said that wrong, a celluloid material that had a bad habit of decomposing and basically destroying the blades and anything that in your collection. So if for instance, if I put it in here with the rest of these knives, it would literally destroy, it gave off like a gas and would destroy anything that was in here with it. So these knives you could pick up for almost nothing. So I picked up these knives and I cleaned them up, and then I sent them off with some beautiful material that I picked up, some beautiful stag material that I picked up, and I sent them off to a buddy of mine, and Muskrat Man, and he put these beautiful stag handles on these, and this is a customized Fight and Rooster. So just because a knife is destroyed, or you think it's destroyed, if you get to know people online, they can fix these things up for you. And he doesn't charge very much for this. You'd be surprised. I don't know what his prices are like now, but I mean, his work is beautiful. It's gorgeous, just beautiful. And he's done other work for me too. And look at that, it's just a beautiful knife. Excuse all the preservative on it, but that's how you keep your knives from rusting. You guys want to see what a new case knife looks like? Beautiful, look at this gorgeous stag on here. Now here's a glued on shield, and you can see the glue oozing out of there. And not only that, the shield is crooked. It's another reason I am not a big fan of the glued on shield. And you can see the glue oozing out of it. Real shame too, because the stag on this knife is just absolutely gorgeous. Look how beautiful that stag is. Now this knife was hand picked for me because I knew the guy that sold the knives, and I asked him to go through his knives and to pick one of the more beautiful ones for me. Now granted, he said he was going to charge me extra for that, but that's okay, because these days you never know what you're going to get. And I thought it was worth it. So you can still get some nice case knives there. That's a beauty. Look at that beauty. This is a German knife. Little on the delicate side manufacture-wise, but other than that, it's nice. Beautiful stag. You guys can see that. It's beautiful, isn't it? Look at the Tony Bose series. They really do a beautiful job. You know, you're going to pay for this, but they do a gorgeous job. Case does just a fantastic job with this series of knives, and I enjoy this series. Look at the back spring on this. This is one of their more collectible ones because it's a whittler. I got this for a fantastic price. And look at that. Just look at that. Isn't that beautiful? ATS 34 is the material that they use. It's a locking blade. Got little blades here too. Isn't that neat? Just a really beautiful knife. How thick that is. Oh, and the shield is riveted on. It's not glued on. Imagine that. And these are the case knives that cost a lot of money, but you can pick these up for about $180, which is not that unreasonable if you really think about it. Because a case select, which is made like garbage in my opinion, can cost $110, $120. So for $50 more, you can pick up one of these. One of the best Tony Bose series, and the cheapest. You can get these for $150, $160. And this is the Millennium version. It's the first one that they made, and it's a trapper. You can pick these up for a nice price. ATS 34, beautifully made. Look at these. Tony Bose, first one that they made. The Millennium Edition, 2000, year 2000. 12 years old now. Look at that. Just a gorgeous knife. And you can get these for really cheap. Why, I have no clue. Because I think people are scared because it hits $160. I mean, come on, guys. This is a beautiful knife that'll last you the rest of your life. Understand value. Beautiful. Now, these are custom-made knives from Case. They have individual technicians manufacturing these. They're made in a special area of the Case factory. Half stops, everything. Pinned on shields. They do a beautiful job with that. I got another one here too. Look at that, just beautiful. They do a fantastic job. Really great job. Here's an unusual one that a lot of people don't have. This is a Tony Bose series, kind of in between a Tony Bose series and kind of in between a standard series. It's ATS 34, yet it's manufactured kind of like a normal knife. So it's a little bit cheaper, but it's kind of not. Very interesting one. ATS 34 USA. Which it looks like it has a glued-on shield. I could be wrong. They did a little bit of cost savings with this one, you can tell. Really nice and sharp. But it's a beauty. It's nice. It's a Tony Bose design. It's nice. Really neat. We could go on forever, but we really shouldn't, should we? How can you tell if a knife is pearl? Okay, you guys go, oh, these are pearl knives. How can you tell? I want to tell you how you can tell. How can you tell? Okay, I'm going to teach you guys something really quick. Maybe give you some useful information. All right, so we'll end this video with some useful information. How can you tell if a knife is pearl? Okay, when you touch pearl, it's cold to the touch. That's it. If your hands aren't very sensitive, you can put it up to your cheek. So basically, if you touch wood or any of these knives, for instance, I mean, they feel a little bit cold because it's about 70 degrees in my house. But if you touch the pearl, they are really cold. Okay, pearl is cold to the touch. Why, I don't know. I mean, you can look it up on Wiki if you want. But that's how you can tell if it's really pearl handles. Okay? So that's one way you know if it's pearl. Bone, how do you know if it's bone or if it's synthetic bone? Bone, if you look very closely, you can see the grain of the bone. A good way to see the grain of the bone is to look towards the end of the knife, and you will be able to see the grain of the bone. Okay, and that would be where the capillaries are of the bone, because all bone has capillaries where the blood vessels used to go. Okay, because for instance, this is celluloid, which is I forget the official name of it, but this is not bone. This is actually a man-made material. Okay, and so is this. This is a man-made material right here too. Sometimes it's very difficult to tell. Now some man-made materials are really nicely made, and they're actually a pretty desirable choice, especially if they have stood the test of time. The reason man-made materials are not typically desirable is because they've had problems in the past, such as the Hen and Roosters have, and they have caused problems with other knives and corrosion and all kinds of issues. The knives such as the Schrades and the Westerns and the Remingtons and gosh, what's the other one? There's a few others that have composite handles that have not had issues. They're very desirable knives, and the reason they're desirable is because the composite handles have stood the test of time, and that is something that is very desirable, because composite handles are very tough, and standing the test of time is something that they have not done. This is a really neat knife. What is this? This is a electric company. Ooh, this is a neat knife. Where did I get this? Oh wow. Neato, neato, neato. Oh, neato, neato, neato. Wow, I got some cool knives, dude. Anyway, I gotta clean her up a little bit. There's another case knife. But I gotta clean that up a little bit. What a beauty. Beauty, 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 beauty. And that's a composite handle. This knife right here is about $22. 1970s, composite material. Some of the composite handles tend to crack though, and the way you can find them is right about there. There's a crack in that one. But, like I said, it's a nice user. And the back springs on this are very strong. And the metal material and all that, what a great user. Hear that snap? Great knife. Alright, so I'm going to end this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's a long one. Just looking at one of my rolls before I clean it up a little bit. And we'll just end this video now. Y'all take it easy.